I'm KB with The Beat. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, KB?
I'm doing well, thanks. So let me dive right in. I am really digging WandaVision, especially episodes 3 and 4 so far. So can you talk a little bit about your personal decision to create this show? What was really your personal connection or affinity to these MCU characters that you really fueled kind of your passion to create this show?
Well, when I was invited to pitch on it, it was the premise of the show that was Kevin Feige's idea that got me so excited. The idea of combining two totally seemingly incongruous things, sitcoms and the MCU. It just seemed like such an enormous challenge to do that and have it not feel like a gimmick, and have it have emotional weight. And to me, that's about tying it to the psychology of the main characters. And Wanda was fascinating to me, because I think she's so misunderstood always, like in every scenario. And so it just seemed like the perfect opportunity to play with form and genre and tone, and then also, at the very heart of the story, dig into a complex female character.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Wanda in the comics books as well is always such like a complex character, and she often gets a bad rep. So, there's a plethora of comic book canon to pull from, obviously. So how did you really strike the balance of kind of using the source material while also creating something fresh and new and making sure that these characters get something new that may eventually become canon?
Thank you. That's a great question. So the idea of sitcoms and WandaVision is nowhere in the comics. So sort of by the very nature of the concept, it is its own animal. There are a lot of visuals from many of the comics of Wanda and Vision in various domestic scenarios, and some just, and so that sort of notion of seeing them outside of the very fraught, very tense, very stakesy MCU, that was there in the art, and so we looked in at a lot of those for inspiration. But it was just very organic that this became it's very much its own thing that now feels. It's such a dense exploration of these two characters, and it introduces new characters, like Monica Rambeau, that it is part of canon. You can't help it.
Yes.
It's part of canon.
I'm so excited. And so like there's one aspect of a trailer that we've seen thus far, where we get to actually see Wanda and Vision dressed up. It looks like Halloween, but they are dressed up as kind of throwback or callbacks to the comic book characters. So like, will we get to see kind of more of those little nuggets kind of beyond that episode as the season progresses?
Well, I mean, I think that the whole series is full of those intersections of influences. I mean, like I've always loved meta content, but this is like head and shoulders the most meta content I've ever been a part of. So yeah, I mean, there's just that kind of thing all across the show. Allusions to the comics, allusions to the sitcoms that we love, allusions to the MCU. We sandwiched as much as possible into the show.
I love that. And of course, it spans many, many decades. We've already seen 3 thus far, and I know that we have a couple more coming. So by the end of the season, will we really understand kind of the significance of why you guys chose so many decades for these particular sitcoms?
I mean, I think that by the end of the season, you will have a very comprehensive understanding of everything that you've watched so far.
Okay. I love it.
Very fancy non-answer.
That's okay, because I'm still so invested that I'm like really looking forward to it. And so when crafting this world, obviously, and creating kind of these new characters and bringing them in, for you specifically, like who was the most challenging kind of new character to add into the fold, or whose arc was kind of the most challenging to really flesh out for you?
I mean, I think Monica was challenging in that I so wanted to do it right. And because, I had been lucky enough to work on her scenes for Captain Marvel. So I felt sort of very protective of her as a young girl, and then to leap forward and write her as a grown woman. I felt a lot of pressure with that. And I was very grateful when Tiana was cast, because she brings so much to the role. Like, I feel like we as the writers barely had to do anything, because she just embodies Monica so well. And it's such a pleasure to watch. And she's such a special talent. So I think the challenge and the desire to do right by her, it was hard. And I hope fans will be pleased.
Well, I can say so far so good right now, because that actually led into my next question, kind of what was the process of getting Tiana on board? I've been a huge fan of hers for a while, but I really, really thought that she shined in If Beale Street Could Talk. And so I was thrilled about this casting, because young Monica was such a little star herself. So just to be able to get this, so what was kind of the process of being able to get Tiana on board and to say yes, because I think she's doing fabulous.
Oh my gosh. And it was that thing, when you're casting someone and the casting people are like, oh my gosh, she's so hot right now and she's doing all these things. And we were like, yeah, we know. She's incredible. It's going to be amazing. And it was hard too, because when she's the little girl stuff in Captain Marvel, she's so, bright eyed and her whole future is ahead of her. And then we did this thing where we meet her in the worst moment of her life. And it's to Tiana's credit that she was able to still carry that little girl essence, with her. There's a little moment before when in episode 4, when she puts her hand out into the energy field, she smiles a little bit, because she's still, she's Lieutenant Trouble. And she's just one of those actresses one of those actors who can do the depth, do the sort of gravity of the moment, and also get the lighter layers in there as well.
Yeah, I mean, she's fabulous. And also, I'm thrilled that Kat and Randall are aboard. I just love this trio so much, in addition to obviously Wanda and Vision. So just thank you so much for chatting with The Beat. I love the show. It's fantastic. And we really appreciate it.